Okay, with all of that said, let's keep going with our good friend David's comments on the Chalcedonian Christology. I know it wasn't the focus of the show, but it may be worthwhile cycling back since it was mentioned that Yeshua may have set aside or gave up some of his divine attributes, which actually contradicts the council's affirmation of Yeshua's divine nature. And then he's going to quote the Chalcedonian Creed. Here's what it says. We then, following the Holy Fathers, all with one consent, teach men to confess one and the same Son, acknowledged in two natures, inconfusedly, unchangeably, indivisibly, inseparably. The distinction of natures being by no means taken away by the union, but rather the property of each nature being preserved and concurring in one person and one subsistence. Okay, that sounds like a lot of words, but basically what they're saying is when Christ comes to earth and is on earth, he doesn't give up any of his divine attributes. Now, this obviously is going to bring a lot of debate. The reason why is because someone is going to say to you or to me, well, what about Christ's omniscience? Certainly when he was in a body, he wasn't omniscient, was he? Okay, so we're going to address all this in just a few seconds. Let's keep going with David's email. He says, when we say that Yeshua set aside or gave up some of his divine attributes, and this is the wording that I've used before, I don't say gave up, but I have said in the past many times, even last show, that Yeshua set aside his divine attributes, not realizing that this is actually a well-known heresy within the church. My bad. Mea culpa, mea culpa. So David says, when we say that Yeshua set aside or gave up some of his divine attributes, is it not tantamount to lessening the divine nature of our Messiah? I think such language has, although unintentionally, the trajectory of monophysitism. I don't know how, monophysite is anyway. One of the very controversies that the Chalcedonian Council condemned. Okay, let's try to break this down so that people
monophysis is one nature.
yeah, exactly. So Nestorius and so there's a name for those who have read the Memory Craft. I have tried to memorize a significant amount of church fathers and the controversies that have gone on, and I memorized Eutychus or Eutychius or whatever his real name is. I actually memorized it as Eutychus. And the reason I did that was because it fit much better into my memory palace than the actual name. So every time I say it wrong. Once again, I apologize. Anyway, these two people came up with different ideas on the nature of Christ, and this comes after the Council of Nicaea. Now, I'm gonna let you in here in just a second because I want to hear kind of your understanding of this, Rob. But basically what these men did in different ways was try to understand how it is that God could come in human form to earth and save his people. That's really what this is all about. And once again, within these debates, they are extremely careful with language. And honestly, when we think about it, there's a good reason why they're really careful with language. And obviously, I have not been careful with my language because I have not studied out the controversies. And the 18th and 19th century heresy of the Kenotic heresy is one of those things that I had not studied out. Now, I got a clip from R.C. Sproul here, unbelievably good, which David sent to us. And so I pulled a 1-minute clip, but I'm going to let Rob jump in here and talk a little bit about how he understands this. Go.
I'd say let's listen to Sproul first.
So that you're not preaching heresy first, too?
No, I am not. This is not my wheelhouse. I mean, I'm like, okay, limiting, like, what is biblical thinking in this matter? In other words, limiting ourselves to scripture. And the things that I think about are things like in Luke, where it says, and the child grew in wisdom. Right. Okay. Or, there's 2 times in Luke when Yeshua is growing up where it talks about Yeshua kind of growing in wisdom. And there's times where now I might in the past have used set aside also. I don't know if I have or not, but I might have used it in the Garden of Gethsemane, where Yeshua says, don't you know I could bring 12 legions of angels? But I would not have meant, if I ever said right there, Yeshua setting aside, that's inaccurate language. What I meant to say is that Yeshua retained full authority and power to do that. He just did not do it. In other words, he because of his submission to the mission, which is to go all the way to the cross, right? That anything that got in the way of that, he would not employ, I guess.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.